Today we're gonna make some sweet, bubbly cider. It's been a while since we made just a basic cider, so we're gonna do it. Now, first, everything that we're going to use, all the stuff that's here, has been sanitized in
the red bucket of sanitization.
And by sanitized, we mean we use Star San mixed to the manufacturer's suggestion, put it in a bucket with some water, dunk all these things in there for 2 minutes, right?
2.
And then ready to go. But cider is actually very simple. You can make it complicated if you want to, but you don't have to. For this, we're gonna be using Musselman's fresh pressed 100% apple cider. This is pasteurized. People ask all the time, can you use pasteurized juice? Of course.
Now, for those of you in the UK who may be confused, why is that cider? How can you make cider out of cider? Yeah, no. In America, or the United States of America specifically,
we call it hard cider.
Cider is non-alcoholic, or hard cider is alcoholic. I know it's very confusing. We're sorry.
We're confused too.
For all of our nation. That's just how it is.
Yeah. It's just a name.
Our cider
Same thing.
is basically your cloudy juice.
Yes, but we're making hard cider. This will be alcoholic for those of you that don't know that. This is 1 full gallon. We're using a 1.5 gallon fermenter because as this ferments, it's gonna bubble up and it can make a mess. So we like to use a little bit more headspace. Whoops, here. I got it. I'll take care of it. I missed. Okay, so we have our cider. The first thing I wanna do is take a gravity reading on it. Now, strictly this isn't necessary if you're doing this at home, but it's nice to know.
But we're using our brand new graduated cylinder and hydrometer, so what Brian's doing right now is completely unnecessary. And let's show you why.
We helped design this new hydrometer. So normally, see, it's such a habit for me to take a sample and put it into here, but this is designed to not have to do that. Oh,
is it touching the bottom?
Well, if I put it to the side, there we go.
As long as it's not touching the bottom, you're getting an accurate reading. If you don't have enough volume and it's not floating, then that's not an accurate reading and you need to use your graduated cylinder.
That is floating all on its own. And the cider is reading 1.052. Now, neat trick about hydrometers, if you have a triple scale, if I take that reading, 1.052, and I spin it around, that shows me somewhere around 5.5% or so, which is pretty cool. No sugar added, no other things added to this, just apple juice. Now, something important, this particular apple juice, the ingredients are pasteurized apple cider and ascorbic acid, vitamin C. Now, it's pretty common to find ascorbic acid or vitamin C in apple juice. It's there to preserve freshness and color. If you can get one without it, a little bit better, but it'll still work even with it. Made it that time. Next up, yeast.
It is yeast, and you need yeast in order for this to ferment.
Yeah, especially since the cider was pasteurized.
Right. So the pasteurization has taken care of any wild yeast that may have been in the cider to start up with.
Now, we're going to be using Mangrove Jack's MO2 cider yeast. I looked this up to find out a little bit more about it. First, it can go to 17.5%, which we're not going to have 17.5%. So it doesn't matter. It's not going to make this into 17.5%. It's still only going to be like 5, but it can go that way. And that's okay, because we actually want this to run completely dry. I know I said it's going to be sweet. Just trust me on this.
Don't worry, there's more later.
And this produces nice fruity esters, which is what we want from an apple cider, right? So I'm going to use about half the packet. Actually, maybe a little bit less than half the packet. I'm going to save some for later, for something else.
Ooh.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. By the way, to save your yeast, fold it like a diagonal and fold that on a diagonal, kind of like the way you save a potato chip bag. So you have a point and then fold that point down, put a piece of tape on it, stick it in the fridge. It'll last a lot longer than the expiration date says.
The fridge part is actually more important than the folding technique.
Yeah, but the folding is neat.
Sure.
Okay, anyway, so we took our reading. We put in our yeast. I need a lid.
All right.
Now, this is a tilt. This is an electronic hydrometer. I'm actually going to put it in there because I have a few of these. I love them. They're wonderful toys. Not absolutely necessary. Just taking the regular hydrometer reading is enough to know everything. But this way I can kind of monitor it because, you know, we do more than one brew at a time around here. So it's kind of good to keep track of things. That way we don't have to take more readings than necessary. All right. Lid and airlock. The airlock is to let gases escape, because if you don't let the gases escape, this will explode. No exaggeration there. It will blow up, okay?
Because the fermentation process not only creates alcohol, but it also creates gases such as CO2. And that can build up pressure in a confined environment, but the airlock is going to let those things go bloop, 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 and the gases escape with no bugs, particularly fruit flies, who are attracted to the scent of fermentation to get in there. So gases out, bugs stay out as well.
Now, this will start to ferment in about 1 to 3 days, and it'll probably take a week, maybe 2 weeks to fully finish out. And we'll be back then to show you what to do next. Okay, it's been 10 days on this. However, I know after about 5, it was actually ready to go because we have a tilt in there. If you didn't have a tilt, let it go the full week or 2 weeks. And it's, somebody really monkey gripped that. Put it on there good. Let me pull out the tilt while I'm talking about it. Like I said, I knew this was done already, but hey, you know what? It sat at 1.000 for quite some time on the tilt, so it's okay.
You didn't put your hydrometer in your graduated cylinder.
Nope, I did not. I'm probably going to regret that.
Well, I've stopped you before you filled it. The reason why we put the hydrometer in the graduated cylinder first is because displacement is a thing. And if you fill your vessel all the way up and then put the hydrometer, bloop, liquid's going to go out all over the place.
1.000. Okay, so that means we can move on to the next step. And the next step is actually going to be kind of interesting. Well, after we rack it. First, we got to rack it, which means moving it from this vessel into a pitcher because we have some adjustments to make. And to rack it, we're going to use an auto siphon, which is really just a little pump with some hose. I'm going to leave the cap on the bottom, and we put the destination low and keep the origin source high, and then give it a few pumps to get it going, and then we rack. The idea is I start about halfway down, and I don't want to go all the way into the lees. That's the debris at the bottom. That's where the cap comes in. The cap helps you to get a little bit deeper in there. We want to get as much product as we can, but there's going to be some loss anytime you rack. And yes, racking is important because the stuff at the bottom there, it's really not good. I don't like it. It makes me gag. I literally can't drink it. I can't drink the bottom of almost anything that I make, even coffee.
All right, so we have racked our brew, and currently we're at
about 120 ounces, which if we use 10-ounce bottles, that means 12 bottles. I don't think we have 10-ounce bottles though, so it doesn't really matter.
But we know this went dry, and we want it to be sweet.
So to sweeten it, you have options. However, some of them are better than others. If we were to use actual sugar, that means we can no longer naturally carbonate. And that's important to understand. If you use real sugar, brown sugar, honey, apple juice concentrate, anything like that, if you do any of those things, you will not be able to naturally carbonate in the bottle. You can pressure carb after pasteurizing, but if you don't stop it, it will ferment further.
Right. We did this once where we used a fermentable sugar as our sweetening agent and then added more sugar for the carbonation, but we had to pasteurize it midstream.
It's a little dicey.
It's a little dicey.
Yeah, it's kind of dangerous because you are hoping there's enough carbonation that when you pasteurize, there's still sweetness left, but hoping that there's not so much carbonation that it blows the top off the bottle or explodes the bottle.
Yeah.
It's a little dangerous, so we don't like that. We recently on the Beyond the Brews channel did a test of allulose versus stevia versus white sugar, and we found that allulose was nearly indistinguishable from white sugar. So normally we would sweeten a cider with white sugar. Today we're going to be using allulose. Now allulose is about 2/3 as sweet as sugar. So in theory, you need about 1.5 times, I think. I don't know. You need more than the same amount of sugar in order to get the same sweetness level. So I'm just going to use our tried and true method, which is dump some in and taste it and see if we like it.
Now remember, this is extra fine,
it's extra fine powdery stuff.
So trying to get it right.
Now, I realize allulose is not exactly cheap, okay? But it's not as expensive as the stevia was, so there's that. And we don't do this all that often. So to me, because the apple juice is so inexpensive, it kind of balances out and makes it where it's not so bad.
Now, if you are brand new to the world of cider making, you may notice at this point that there is an unusual aroma, and that is totally normal for brewing with apple products. After a while, you get acclimated to it and you can smell past that weirdness and realize that it's apple.
Sometimes stirring it like I'm doing now, where it's kind of degassing it at the same time, can actually get rid of it. We've had several people that's all they did. They just degassed it for a while and the smell went away. That smell does age out.
Yes.
It's sulfurous compounds that are caused from fermentation. It could be from yeast stress too. So be careful, because if it's like super strong and smells really, really bad of rotten eggs, that's probably yeast stress. What I'm smelling here though is just young funk of cider. And a lot of the time, the juices that you buy are pasteurized, which is not really a problem, but pasteurized, and they have ascorbic acid, vitamin C, or any of other things added to help retain color or things like that to prevent spoilage. All those things, they do kind of make it a little bit harder on the yeast. They do add a little bit of that funk. So I'm stirring this a lot more than I normally would. It's already getting better.
Yeah.
Okay. I need a tasting glass.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's why I love the new studio. Everything's right here. And this is the way we do our sweetening. We just put some in, pour off more of a sample than I really wanted to, and then taste it. Now remember, this will be carbonated and cold. And the carbonation effect normally makes things taste a little lighter and a little sweeter than you would expect them to be. It's probably still really dry.
It's actually not that bad, but you're going to want it sweeter.
Yeah, I called this sweet bubbly cider.
Yeah.
Not sort of, kind of not dry bubbly cider. But it does have a nice apple flavor.
It does.
It really does. It's very much like a fresh juiced apple. Yeah.
And that is one of the things that we've noticed in creating a lower ABV fruited beverage, is that the alcohol doesn't really get in the way of the fruit notes. And so that's lovely if you're wanting to enjoy a fruity beverage.
Now, I'm hoping that this recipe just becomes something that I can throw together really quickly and easily off camera, because we almost never make anything off camera anymore. But we've recently found a couple of ciders and beers that we really like. And I'm like, you know what? It'd be nice to just make a couple of these and have a few bottles laying around that I can throw in the fridge. And that way, if I want something nice and light, I can just have that. Probably going to be significantly sweeter this time. Shockingly enough, it didn't affect the clarity.
That's one of the benefits of the allulose, is that it is a very fine...
And it dissolves super fast.
Yeah.
It dissolves faster than regular white sugar does.
We're getting there, but since we're focusing on the sweet aspect, I think it needs a little bit more.
Yeah, but not a lot.
Right?
It's definitely getting there.
Yep.
Now this is a 2-pound container. I've used a little bit for other things. It's still like more than half full, so I don't think I put in that much. That ought to do. And if it doesn't, I'm a little worried, because that was a lot more than I thought I was gonna. Now, when you're mixing, be careful. You do not want to introduce oxygen at this stage, because you could make vinegar. This is in the range that it could easily become vinegar.
Remember, vinegar needs alcohol and oxygen and acetobacters, which are everywhere, to create vinegar.
Right.
Because we are below the tolerance level
Wait a
of
minute.
acetobacters.
What's our ABV?
I don't know.
Let me get the calculator the teacher said I would never have handy. That was in my pocket. Literally, it was right there. It also has access to all the information in the world on the internet. They didn't even expect that one. They didn't see that coming at all. Okay, we start at 1.052. That's your original gravity. So original gravity minus final gravity, that as a group, times 131.25 gives you ABV. So 1.052 minus 1.000, we used 0.052 gravity times 131.25 gives us 6.825. This is not a slouch. I'm gonna call it 6.5.
Sure. And the reason why Brian stopped me mid-sentence to figure that out is because we actually need that number to verify that we are under the 10% ABV.
I kind of knew we were gonna be.
Which is where things start to get dicey to do that transference into vinegar. Once it gets past 15% and higher, it's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, well, past 10%, it's harder.
Sure.
15%, it's damn near impossible.
Yeah.
But also, keep one thing in mind about this. This is 6.5% now. It adds about 0.5% when you carbonate too, because that is a small fermentation. So this is going to be a 7% sweet, bubbly cider. That's no slouch. That's pretty cool.
We tend to have difficulty making.
I can't make anything
ABV.
low ABV. I mean, 7% is low. It's not as low as it could be. You like it?
That's going to be lovely carbonated. Do you want it to be sweeter?
I want it a little sweeter.
All right.
This is mostly a Brian beverage this time, I think. Yeah. Although Derek will drink. He'll drink some of this.
Sure.
But I'm really making this for me so that I can have something that's lower alcohol that doesn't have a ton of sugar in it. That way it's lower calories altogether. And I can drink it guilt-free-ish. Mostly.
Limited guilt.
Limited guilt. Limited guilt, that's good.
Is that a t-shirt too?
Yeah.
I homebrew for limited guilt.
That's right. Now, I'm going to take a gravity reading at the end, but what I want you to understand is that it doesn't necessarily translate equally to if you sweeten this with sugar. Because the perceived sweetness is different, this may come out much higher gravity than we think it would be, even though it's not as sweet as sugar that density would be. Or, I don't know how the density works out of allulose versus sugar.
Find out.
Whoops. We got a bigger sample.
Are you making misses?
Although we're up to 128 ounces. Oh, no, that's with the spattle in there. We're almost at 128 ounces now. We've added significant volume to this already. Which, yes, that dilutes it slightly. Don't get crazy on me. That's why I round down. I think we're there.
Okay.
That's nice. I think cold and carbonated, that'll come through. And that's part of it too. When you make something cold, some of the flavors get turned down or turned off. So as much as this might seem super sweet, once it's cold and carbonated, it might not seem anywhere near as sweet. But let's take a reading and find out, oh, you know what? I can just drop it right in. 1.038. Now, I know some of you out there are cringing, you're losing your mind, you're going crazy. You gotta remember, this is only 2/3 as sweet as sugar. So that means it'd be like a 1.024-ish or so if this were white sugar. I think that's the way that would work. It doesn't really matter because they don't translate the same anyway.
And regardless, if you're making this, we suggest that you use our method to find out how sweet you want it to be. So that way you're making it for you and not for us.
Yeah, I mean, if you liked it the way it was with no allulose added, then proceed to the next step. You don't even need to do all the stuff that we just did. If you want it sweeter than what we like it, go for it. I'm not here to judge you, and the allulose police will not be knocking on your door.
Speaking of the next step, it's time to get out actual sugar. So at this point, we're adding a fermentable sugar. Ours is white sugar because we just want something to ferment. We don't want to augment the flavor. We're going to be using our golden number, which is 42 grams per gallon.
Which is also 1.5 ounces in weight in the US customary system.
And we're adding this specific amount is because we know that that will create the carbonation level that we would want in our bottles without exploding our bottles. If you just add a crap ton of sugar in here, you're not going to be able to control the amount of carbonation and you may have a bottle bomb.
Right. It's crucial to not overdo this. A lot of people like to put a teaspoon in each bottle. I don't like that method because a teaspoon may vary from bottle to bottle, and it's such a small amount that you might get a lot more in one bottle and a lot less in another. So that means one bottle might not carbonate enough, and the other bottle might explode. I'd rather just add it to the whole thing, mix it through, and then you're good. Like
a lot of people have asked us if they can use a carbonation tab. You absolutely can, but just remember, that is a fermentable sugar.
Yeah, they're just sugar tablets. That's all they are.
Pre-measured.
They're just little sugar pills. Now, the trick here is make sure it is dissolved well. Otherwise, you will not get the overall effect. You'll get the last bottle will have a lot more sugar than the first bottle. I don't think I can make this clear enough or stress it enough. Natural carbonation, like what we're doing, where it ferments just a little bit and creates the gas bubbles, is an actual fermentation. A lot of people don't seem to realize that or understand that. And that's why you want to be careful. Like you're probably not gonna be able to take that 24% stalled out brew with 40 points of sugar left over and carbonate it. It's just not gonna happen. If you don't have enough tolerance left in your yeast, it's not going to be able to carbonate. This is much, much lower than the yeast we use. The yeast we used is MO2 cider yeast, which I believe goes way higher, 15, 16%, something like that. We're at 6. So it's going to ferment this. And if we had just used regular sugar to sweeten, it's going to ferment that too. And the yeast don't know the difference between yeast added for carbonation and yeast added for sweetness. That's why we used a non-fermentable sugar, so that they won't chew on that because they can't. So it'll stay there. And then it'll make bubbles with the other sugar.
Another thing we want to be super clear about is the pasteurization method. Lots of people have asked us in the comments in this situation, well, can't you just pasteurize it and then add the carbonation sugar and ferment it? Well,
pasteurization doesn't kill the sugar.
It just kills the yeast. So you're going to have to add more yeast in order for it to carbonate, and then they're going to chew any fermentable sugar that's in there, or you're not going to get any carbonation because your yeast is dead.
Exactly. So we're going to wash up some bottles. We're going to be using like 12-ounce bottles. So we actually need like 10 bottles to do this one. Maybe 11. I don't know. A little bit left. I'll just drink it. And we'll be back in a moment. Okay, so we have our bottles. We have bottle caps. We have a pitcher full of lovely, sweet cider. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You've been told, probably, that you should always use an auto siphon and always use a bottling wand and this and that. Now, while I agree in theory that that is the absolute best way to go, I feel that if you have a really good pitcher, and now this is going to sound like an ad, but this pitcher here has metric and US customary units on the side. It also has a very sharp spout. Every time I mention it, somebody goes, like, people laugh, but somebody always says, they're so right, this is the most amazing pitcher. Yes, you can get one in the link in the description below, but this pitcher makes something more plausible to do. Now, I'm not saying there's no risk, and I'm not saying it's the absolute best practice, but you know what? Using a bottling wand and an auto siphon and all that kind of stuff on this stuff is just crazy. And this is a beginner's intentional video, so I'm going to show you something that I don't think we've ever done on camera before. Look at this. I'm pouring it into the bottle, but if you notice, I'm pouring it very carefully.
He's got the bottle tilted so it's running down the side, limiting splashing, which would limit oxidization. That is what we're trying to avoid, and that's what all that other stuff is trying to avoid, is oxidization.
Right. If you can hear it going into the bottle, you're doing it wrong. And I just filled it to about there. That's it. If I used a bottling wand and all that kind of stuff, I could actually, believe it or not, in small batches like this, you could actually cause more harm than good sometimes if you're not using it properly, or if you have outdated equipment, or if you didn't clean it all properly. So there's a lot of...
You just want to pay really close attention and pour slowly and not splash everywhere.
It probably takes just as much time to use the auto siphon and bottling wand as it does to do this way. But hey, you know what? Like I said, this is a beginner's video, so I don't want you to have to go buy expensive equipment to make your first cider if you're not ready to do that. So I'm just showing you an easy way to do it without those things. So we're just going to fill the rest of these bottles, and we'll be back when we're done. Okay, so we ended up with 3, 6, 9, 10 bottles, and a glass to be consumed now. It's very nice.
So remember how we said earlier that this natural carbonation is a mini fermentation, Brian?
Well, in order for fermentation to occur, you have to have an active yeast. Now, here's the thing. The yeast that was in there for fermentation is probably still in there, a lot of it. Some of it fell out into the yeast, but some of it is still floating around in there. But how much? Is there enough?
We don't know.
We don't know. So I like to do a thing that I call insurance yeast. Because you don't know if you need it until you need it. And if you need it and you didn't do it, then you wish you did. And if you did it and you didn't need it, it doesn't matter because it's still carbonated anyway. So there's no loss here. This is the same yeast that we use, the Mango Jack's cider yeast. So what I'm going to do is just put a tiny amount, and I mean literally just a tiniest bare sprinkle, 20, 30 grains, maybe 40, I don't know, I'm not counting them, into each bottle, just enough that it can ferment that little tiny bit of sugar that's in each bottle. Oh, that one got a little bit more. A little bit more yeast actually doesn't hurt anything. It just means probably more lees in the bottom of your bottle.
It's better to do this while you're not talking.
Yeah, you will get a little bit of lees sediment in the bottom of each bottle. I just deal with it. I pour it off into a glass and don't drink that last mouthful. Some people, it doesn't bother. But you will get that anyway if you use a natural carbonation, because there's always going to be some dropout when you use actual yeast.
You may find that in commercially made beers, ciders, even wine have some residual stuff falling out on the bottom. And that's just because of the fermentation process.
There's enough left to do another insurance yeast round for another gallon someday. But I want to talk about this some more. People always ask when they see us do this, we made a big deal about putting all the sugar into the pitcher. Why didn't we just add the yeast at the same time? Here's why. The yeast doesn't dissolve like sugar does. It won't disperse evenly throughout the whole gallon. It'll sit at the top or sit at the bottom, so we wouldn't actually get a good delivery of the yeast. And that's why I do the yeast in each bottle, but I don't like to do the sugar in each bottle. But now, we got capped these.
We are using our crown caps. For that, there are a multitude of ways. Some are very budget friendly, and some of them are a little more excessive. And that's what we're going to do today, just because it's so gosh darn fun.
The bottles that you use are very important, because if you put this in a bottle that is not meant to hold carbonation, it's going to explode. No ifs, ands, or buts, it's going to. Like a lot of cheaper screw cap bottles and stuff, don't go with that. There are PET plastic ones that are totally fine. Any bottle that's held beer before, like this, is a Guinness bottle.
Actually, that is not a Guinness bottle. This is a Guinness bottle.
Okay. They're all like 11.4 to 12 ounces.
Some other beer.
Yeah, some other beer.
Oh, it might have been Dragon's Milk.
Oh, it could have been Dragon's Milk, yeah. Anyway, so we use repurposed beer bottles because why not? You paid for it already, just reuse it. If you're going to buy bottles, make sure that they are meant for beer, because this is essentially working similar to a beer in that way.
Regardless of what bottle you choose, make sure to clean it properly and sanitize it before adding your brew.
Absolutely. Let's get to capping. This is our bottle capper from North Mountain Supply. You can get yours in the description below. It may seem like a very pricey investment. However, if this is a thing that you're going to do
on a regular
more
basis,
than a couple times a year,
get this.
Oh my God, it makes it so much easier.
Thank us later.
I want to say it's like $100 or so, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's very, very, very useful. What you want to do though, is each bottle is going to be a little bit different. Like for this one, we want to adjust the height.
We have a yellow line here that indicates where the top of our bottle should be. So I'll move this up.
Should go
and adjust that.
Right to there.
Then our cap will fit in the lid, and see,
it's magnetic.
It's magnetic.
There's actually two types of heads for this. So there's a couple different kinds of caps you can use, and that was not tightened down. Right? You got to tighten it down a little bit. And then two fingers.
If you don't have it bolted to the table, have somebody hold the base.
And keep in mind, it will scratch your table if you don't put something underneath it. That's why we have a towel. And then 2 fingers, push down, all the way down, let it go. I like to turn it 90 degrees and give it one more hit.
It's not necessary, it just makes them feel better.
Yeah. And then it's capped. So I'm going to do all the ones that are the same size bottles first, because that way I don't have to keep changing the height. And then when we get to the shorter bottles, I'll just change the height. It does work a little bit better with 2 people if you don't have it bolted down. If you have it bolted down, it's totally fine to do 1 person.
If you're not talking while you're doing it, it's actually
probably immensely easy.
Really quick.
So we're going to finish all these bottles up. Be right back. Okay, all the caps are on. What are we going to do with these now?
We are going to put them in our bomb shelter, which is basically a heavy-duty tub that these will fit nicely upright in. And that is just in case something untoward occurs, aka we have a bottle fail.
The worst I can really see happening in this case is a cap popping off, because these bottles, we've used them a couple of times, but there's no chips or cracks in them, so they should be just fine. And that's the secret to using good quality bottles. If you know that it's held carbonation before and you didn't break it in opening it, it's probably going to work again.
We're also going to put labels on them so that way we know what's in these lovely bottles.
Otherwise, it's mystery brew.
With notes such as our begin date and bottle date.
And ABV. And usually final gravity. We put that on there too. Don't put a lot of information on it, just enough. Also, one of them is going to go away for a whole year. We didn't always do that with ciders and beers, but we started doing it
now. Yep.
We're getting risky. And you know what? If it fails, it fails. That's a good video and educational experience as well. But I don't expect that they do, because they don't.
Typically, it takes roughly 3 weeks for ours to carbonate to the level that we are comfortable with. So we'll see you back then for our final tasting.
All right, this has been sitting for 3 weeks, carbonating in the bottle. And then...
I put it in the refrigerator.
Yep, so it's been in there for like a couple of days. But now we got to get it out of this bottle and into these glasses. Now, the moment of truth. Oh, we got a little sizzle. Perfect. All right, so final numbers on this were 7% ABV and 1.038 final gravity. Now remember, this was sweetened with allulose.
That's right.
So it's not sugary.
It is cloudy, which I am okay with.
Yeah, cloudy is totally fine for a cider. I don't really care. There are little tiny bits of particles in it because it's a natural carbonation. That's just the way it is. I got a couple little tiny pieces.
Oh, you must have got this before because I don't really have any in mine.
Oh, then I'll take yours.
That's love, ladies and gentlemen.
From her side, because I'll gag on it. It just bothers me.
Don't bother me.
Anyway, so yeah, it's got a nice color. It's not clear though.
All right, so I'm getting
It smells like apple.
a little bit of the funk if you're not used to cider aroma, and then it's like, no, that's totally cider.
I just get apple. Even a little green apple in there.
The apple, once you get in for the second smell, is perfection. Oh, it's making my mouth water already.
You ready?
I'm ready. That is very nice.
Tastes like Angry Orchard.
It does. I am not sensing any artificial weirdness at all.
This is good. It's got a lovely sweetness that feels very natural. It doesn't feel overdone, even though you might think like, oh, that's 1.038. But I honestly believe that allulose, because it's only like 75% is sweet as sugar, it raises that specific gravity more.
Could be.
I don't know. I don't really have an idea on that. I just know that's what we raised it to by using the allulose.
But because the apple flavor is so pronounced, it feels like it's just the sweetness of apple. It's not even the sweetness of sugar. It's just the sweetness of apple.
But this is still quite crisp, and like the acid profile is still really, really nice. So that it's well balanced. That's what it is.
And in the mouth, it has that creamy texture like you were talking about with the carbonation and everything going on. Yes.
This is lovely. This is really good. And what's cool about this is you can keep this in bottles and keep this for a long time. We're going to have one of these in a 1-year tasting. If there's an, you did say
I did.
Okay, because I saw a bunch of them in the fridge. I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah, there's just not a lot to say. It's a really super simple cider, but sweetened up, it tastes wonderful. It tastes like nice, fresh, juicy apples.
Right. And
it really does taste like Angry Orchard. That's what it
does. It does. And if you're looking for a safe way to have a sweet yet carbonated beverage, using the non-fermentable sugars is certainly a way to go.
Right. The trick is you got to let it go totally dry first. That's all. And then it's really, really simple. But this actually came out at 7% still. This is no slouch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a couple, 2, 3 of these and you'll know it.
All right. So
we have to put a score on this.
Right. On your screen right now, you should be our scoring card, which goes from 1 to 11. Because, yes, ours goes to 11. What you don't see is the super secret 0, which means it absolutely sucks. Spoilers.
Not a 0.
Not a 0.
Not a 0 at all. There's a little bit left. You want more?
If I must.
Yeah. Oh, I should have poured mine first.
Yeah.
I'll take the.
Do you want to do the switcheroo?
Nope. I'll suffer.
Do a gentle pour. If you do a gentle pour with a bottle that has that shape that most bottles have, the little lip part here will actually capture
some of it.
Some of the sediment.
And I never finish a bottle. I always just leave a little bit at the bottom because I don't want to drink that. There's stuff in there. It's goopy.
Do you have a number?
Yeah, I think I do. Do you?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 9. Yeah, I knew it was going to be high. I didn't know where it was going to fall. I could not go higher only because this is about as simple as it gets.
Yep.
There's not much to it for complexity. That's why there wasn't much to say.
Yep.
But if you're just looking for a really easy cider, first timer, brewing, that kind of thing, oh my God, do this. Please, for all that is good in the world, do not use stevia. It'll taste like crap. I'll just tell you that right now. We did a test on that. Stevia didn't work well. It has a weird funk to it.
It's got a weird funk, yeah.
Now, if you like the weird funk of stevia, then by all means use stevia.
Sure.
But I think I like the natural sweetness that comes through. This tastes like it was sweetened with sugar or apples. It does not taste artificial in any way, which allulose is actually not artificial. So, there's that. But go ahead and make this. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching and have a great day.
Bye-bye.